All right, here on Punch in the Face Radio, we're joined here live by Colton Smith, who will be competing here at Titan FC 33. Colton, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing very good. Getting ready to go train. Feeling great for this fight. Can't wait to get back on the horse, brother.
Well, right on. Now, it's been about 8 months since fans seen you last. So, during that time since your departure from the UFC, what's been going on?
Yeah, I had a surgery. I had to get knocked out. Something that I've been leaving go for a long time. Healing up from that, moving back up a weight class, back where I had my success at welterweight, and just being a student of the game, getting my fire back, and just dedicating myself as much as possible as far as training goes, and being a good teammate to the other fighters that have fights coming up.
Well, absolutely. Now, as you stated, it's been coming off an injury, but you're also coming off a 3-fight skid with the UFC. Have you changed up anything here in the time away to kind of prepare yourself better here for Titan FC 33, or is it just kind of more of a mental thing?
A lot of it was a mental block. As far as training goes and stuff like that, I've always been one of those guys that's done very successful in the gym, and had some success as well. Obviously, the Ultimate Fighter, winning the show in decisive fashion over Titan FC's golden boy, Mike Ritchie. But I have changed a lot of things in my training as well as my mental preparation as well. And also moving back up to 170 is definitely a good move for me. I talked to my coaches, Greg Jackson, Tim Kennedy, and the guys at Fort Hood, and they all, they're the ones that all thought I should have stayed at 170 in the first place. I let people get in my head a little too much about going to 55. Hindsight's 20/20, bro. Not making any excuses. I had some poor performances in the last couple fights. I didn't perform up to my potential, but that's all behind me. I'm ready to show the world where I truly belong in the mixed martial arts community.
Now, is welterweight going to be where you're going to pretty much stay at the remainder of your career as far as you see, or is it just going to be for the next couple of fights and then kind of see how you feel from there?
Yeah, I walk around anywhere from 205 to 210 when I'm on full feet and feeling healthy. So, 55 was just a little too much. If there was, kind of like, I've heard Nick Diaz talk about if there's a 163-pound weight class, that'd probably be about perfect. But, I'll keep getting my size up, keep building. I'm big on strength conditioning now. So, I really, truly believe, 170 is probably going to be where I'm going to stay the rest of my career.
Now, you're going to be facing an undefeated opponent in Belal Muhammad. Now, have you guys done any sort of early scouting on him, or have you seen any kind of tape on him to kind of prepare yourself, or is it still a little bit early?
Yeah, Titan gave me a couple of opponents. I said yes to all of them, before I called Greg Jackson or Tim Kennedy. I'm not one of those guys that's going to pick a fight. The way I look at it, Titan, their matchmaker, same as Joe Joseph with the UFC. Whoever they say I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. I'm not one of those guys that's going to, pick and choose a fight to me. But with that being said, after watching Muhammad's, his fights and stuff like that, previous fights, obviously a talented guy, a top prospect coming up and coming, but he's never fought anybody my caliber, and that's not me being, cocky or anything like that or conceited. That's just the truth, and I'm sure he shares the same sentiment. It's a big jumping competition for him as well, so I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great fight for not only the fans, not only for Titan FC, but as well as the reason why we're there, which is for the veterans.
Yeah, absolutely, which is something I was going to ask you about. You being a military vet yourself, how important is it to you to not only fight on this card, to be a part of that Aerofest is going to be going down that same weekend, March 20th?
It's a perfect opportunity for me. I have a fight 3 weeks before that as well. So it's just kind of not a stepping stone by any means, because I love Titan. I love to be in Titan, and continue my run in Titan. I have no problem with that. I'm not one of those guys that's going to say, I'm looking at this fight, win decisively, they'll be back in the UFC or whatnot. Titan's a huge organization, do a lot of good things. They support their fighters, they support their fans, obviously, as well as they love veterans, which is a big thing for me. I'm active duty, I'm one of the only active duty guys that has been at the top level while on active duty, and I'm thrilled to be able to fight in front of wounded veterans as well as active duty service members. And each and every fight that I fight, it's for the active duty service members that are fighting for our country overseas, day in and day out, whether it be Afghanistan, Iraq, or other hostile environments that not a lot of people know we're at.
Absolutely. Now, even with you're fighting here during that weekend. Do you think you'll have any sort of distractions with, like you said, with you being active duty and you're being around veterans and we're all there for that cause? Is that going to be any sort of distraction for you going up to the fight, or is it just going to be all business and after the fight you're going to focus on it, talking and hanging out with those people while down there in Mobile?
I'll be honest. Fight week, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be, visiting the soldiers, visiting the sailors, the airmen, the Marines. That's something I love, and I feel like that's going to be fuel for me. That there's nothing negative about that. You focus on the fight and all that, but fighting isn't. It's not life or death. It's not war. It's not combat. You hear some guys talk about, I'm going to war tonight. You're not going to war. There's a referee that's going to stop it if something gets out of hand. So I just look at it as something that's fun to do. Step in the cage, another man, the cage door closed, and find out who the best man is that evening. And unfortunately for Muhammad, I got a lot of battle buddies and a lot of service members that are going to be there cage side, and I'll be fueling off of them, off of their excitement. So, it's going to be a pretty positive environment for me.
Absolutely. Now, funny thing you said that. How annoying do you find it when you hear guys saying they're about to go to war, they're about to go to battle, when they're referring to a fight when you've actually literally been in wars and been in battles? Do you kind of find that to be somewhat annoying, or just you kind of look past it, and understand why they're saying it, but still think it's a little bit ignorant on their end?
No, everybody has battles in their life, and if that's their pinnacle of their life, and that's the battle they're in, then I get that. I understand that. I have been in combat. I have been in real battles. I've been in firefights. I've been on the front line, served our country. So I've seen war, and war is hell. Fighting in a cage against another man isn't hell. It's great. I love it. Previous fights, I've been almost to the point where I can almost fall asleep before the fight. That's been a problem I've battled is, make sure that I'm up like it is a firefight, like it is war. So no, I have no ill will towards anybody that says that. And I don't wish them to go to war either. It's not made. Everybody's not made for war. Everybody's not made for the military. So, I understand every person has their own, version of war in their lives, whether it be, fighting growing up or, fighting in a cage or fighting downrange in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Now, the last question I'll get you out on here is this. Now, with being on The Ultimate Fighter, and in your case even winning, is being on that show somewhat a gift and a curse? Because it seems it's been a lot of mixed results for a lot of the contestants and the winners of the show post-Ultimate Fighter finale. Is that something that you can kind of look at as being a gift and a curse for the fighters and the participants?
Of course, there's a lot expected out of an individual that wins that show because it is arguably the hardest mixed martial arts tournament in the world. You look at the guys that I fought on the show. I fought a dude, Eddie Ellis, 50 pro fights, my first fight. I was like 5-1 going into the show. And I fought a dude 50 pro fights. My first fight to get in the house, the guy was 8-0. Next guy had 50 pro fights, like 35-15. The guy after that was 26-6. Igor Adauju. I beat him as well, and he's still in the UFC doing very well. And then I beat John Manley, semis, and Mike Ritchie in the finale. And, there is mixed results. There's guys like Neil Magny on my show who Mike Ritchie knocked out, and he's, 5-0 in the UFC the past 5 fights. Igor's 3-0, I believe, in the UFC. There's a lot of guys that have success after the show, whether they win or not. And, it's kind of like how you deal with the spotlight. Some of that did get to me, some of the spotlight. And, again, like I said, I had a lot of pressure against me to move down to 55 from a lot of people. And I took it. I thought it was the right decision at the time. So there is a lot of expectations for you as a fighter. But for me, I've never been a full-time fighter until recently. I'm still active duty military, but I'm able to train quite a bit now. And that's something I've never really had as a full-time fight experience. So it's a little different for me. I think I'm in a different situation. I'm still growing as a mixed martial artist. I definitely haven't hit my peak yet. I just turned 27, so I got plenty of time in this fight game. I got plenty of miles left on the tank. So I'm excited to see where it takes me, whether I'm in Titan or wherever I go from there.
Well, absolutely, Colton. Well, definitely let the fans know where they can follow you on social media, website, to kind of keep tabs up with you with your training heading into Titan FC.
Yeah, you can follow me on Colton Smith MMA on Twitter. I'm on there every couple days. I also have Colton Smith MMA Fighter page on Facebook. If anybody ever emails me or messages me, whether it's a negative comment, positive comment, I always write back to people. I don't care. I don't get hurt over certain comments and whatnot. So also enlisted9.com, Enlisted9 Fight Company. I'm also on there quite a bit as well. They're a great up-and-coming active duty-owned clothing company and MMA ambassador. So that's where you can find me, man. If anybody ever wants to contact me, I'm always there.
And give a shout out to any sponsors helping you get prepared here for the fight.
I want to thank long-time sponsor. I want to thank Torque. I want to thank Alienware. I want to thank ML Management, my management team. Tina Vidal, she's been amazing. Ron Foster. I also want to thank my main training camp. I want to thank, number one, I want to thank Jackson, MMA, and then most importantly, I want to thank the Fort Hood Combative School at Fort Hood, the Fort Hood Fight House. We got a great thing going on right now there. We're the 3-time All-Army champions. We got some killers on the map. Central Texas, we're putting them on the map. I'm telling you right now. So I want to thank all my training partners and all the gyms that allow me to come cross-train. And all my coaches, all my fans, all my haters, everybody. I want to thank everybody. And most importantly, I want to thank Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and also the soldiers downrange fighting for our country.
Absolutely, Colton. Well, we appreciate you taking out time with us here on Punch the Face Radio. We'll see you March 20th, Titan FC 33. Best of luck, man. And again, we appreciate all that you've done here for the country as being a military guy. We do appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a great night.
All right, you too.